it's a question that one should ask to oneself.
Yes.
Is it possible that I do all the work, I do all the actions, and I do not create an image? What happen if I just ask this question to myself? What will be happening? I go to my office now, and I am working as an employee, or as you said, a TV actress. So I'm working there. Maybe my serial is running very well, and now everybody's, now you are getting an award, a best actress award. Is it possible for me not to create an image of being a great actor,
Right.
which is very much against the concept of the society? Society teaches to work for an image, to
Yes.
make a better image.
Yes.
Society working continuously towards making a better image, a
Yes.
powerful image. So it's against it. But here we have found that image which is better, which is giving pleasure, gives us pain as well.
Yes.
So we need to now. I am a person who wants to get rid of all the images, wants to live free from the images,
Yes.
want to experience something extraordinary. What it requires not to create an image, and why I create image. There are two situations in front of me.
Yes. Exactly. Why do we do that?
Why do we create image? Lack of attention creates image.
Hmm.
When I am not very attentive, when I am not having a very great awareness, when somebody is telling me that I am, you are a great person, you are a you are a great actress, you are getting this award. So at that time I forget everything, and very soon, because I'm not very attentive, very alert to what is happening around it,
Yes.
so I create an image, and I start having pleasure through it. If I'm very attentive and very alert at that time, and I respect the award, whatever award you are giving me, and I don't create an image, I'm
Right.
saying, okay, you give me this, and I don't create an image. So next time, doesn't matter this film industry working or not, I will not be hurt. Maybe next time the film industry have got some crisis, it's not working, but I'm not hurt, because who hurt is image.
Yes.
I am not that image.
What you are saying, it sounds like the equivalent of the concept or the quality of humility, to be humble about something,
It's
especially
exactly
because of in the case of pleasure and forming images connected with pleasure. Uh,
very true.
it's about living life humbly. That's what it sounds like.
Very important. We have to be very grounded. Humility, there is a very great deal with humility. If I'm having this humility, I have a great power of learning the life.
Yeah.
If I'm not having humility, if I'm not grounded, if I'm not having humbleness, I am like feeling someone bigger than you, so I'm not respecting you. i'm
Yes.
not I'm not respecting you, so I'm not understanding the relation between me and you. So
Yes.
there will be conflict in the relation,
Yes.
and I will never be able to solve it.
Hmm.
So it's very true, I need to be very humble. I need to learn humility. It's
Yeah.
a real great learning.
It happens very much in the dynamic of any kind of relationship. It might be personal, romantic, or professional, between men and women in general. And it does come up so often that there is this attitude, like you said, of superiority, that we are not the same, this lack of humility in so many relationships between men and women, where men, for whatever reason it is, and I'm sure it's a whole other conversation, but will put themselves on a different level. In their minds, they are on a different level. That equality is missing. And really feel this is a cause of, like you
Right.
said, so much conflict and so much pain and suffering on both parts. Isn't it the same thing?
It's the same. Surely it will be there. Surely it will be. See, if I have created an image about myself, which is I am higher and lower than somebody, maybe lower, I'm feeling I'm lower than you, then also I'm not having humility again. So if I'm not having humility, if I'm not humble, I cease to learn, I cease to see what exactly is in front of me.
Yes.
If I'm too egoistic, I don't see the reality, I don't meet you.
Yes.
If I am feeling lower than you, jealous or something, then also I'm not meeting you, I'm meeting an image about you or about myself.
That's true.
So if I want to get rid of all my images, I need to learn how to be humble.
Hmm.
It's very true. But if we study Yoga Sutra does not talk about all the word like humble, having compassion, and all, like not really talk about it.
Right.
Reason is yoga is very scientific language, because through the word we again create image. We hear the word, and here we create an image. So
Yes.
Patanjali is very much focused that you don't create an image through his words. You don't make him a guru. You
Wow.
don't make a higher authority, like Patanjali is higher authority, and by praising him, he will give us the knowledge. It's not like that. It's a science, simple science rules,
Yes.
science of the self, science of the mind.
Right. Where you hear something, you absorb it, and you have to experience it without putting a judgment to it.
Exactly. You have to enter into it as a reality, as a fact, not as an idea.
Yes.
Because we are very good into in creating ideas. We are very good already.
Yeah.
Here we hear something, we create a concept, ideal, and we have ideals. That's why we have created so many ideals, so many temples and churches, and so many like gurus, idols.
Yes.
They are coming from the ideas. We have ideas about how the higher level of awareness is, how the supreme consciousness is. The ideas have created all this. Otherwise, if we are if we are free from ideas, there is a great learning of life is there. There is no idea, there is no ideology, there is no images. Yeah.
It is it is a very difficult and very different concept completely in
all about all about awareness, Devina. If you are aware enough, then you can deal with these images, not creating an image. Somebody is giving you pain, somebody is telling you you are lower, so you don't create image I'm lower. Or somebody is telling you are higher, you are bigger, so you don't create an image. It's all about attentiveness, how attentive you are at that time, not at that time, throughout the life.
yes, and not to get carried away in the case of pleasure or so-called pleasure, perceived pleasure, not to get
Right.
carried away in that experience either. So it's not only for negative situations which will cause you pain, like you said, sensual pain or psychological
Right.
pain. It's also very much for the positive ones, not to get carried away into that, because that, if you don't have control over the mind, that will also turn into pleasure, into pain. That pleasure will also turn into pain sooner or later.
So we need to be just very alert to see how these images are bringing pain. For an example, if today I am in pain, somebody have disrespected me, so I have to go back to my memory and check how I have created that image which is hurt, how I got the pleasure, because we create image mostly through pleasure and pain. So I had some pleasure before, I created an image, and today this image is hurt. So if, when I will find it in this very finding, I will become free from it. If I will find it really, not only intellectually, but with my whole self, I will see it through my whole heart and mind, with everything.
Right.
In this very seeing, there is a freedom.
What does that mean in practical terms if we are going through something negative, let's say pain causing? If I'm going through some emotion of self doubt or perhaps guilt, because society will tell you something like, okay, you've done this thing equals something negative. So I'm living so much in that state of self doubt, I don't know how to come out of it. So, according to this sutra, which we are studying, how do you deal with it if we are to apply this science?
To, to deal with the problem, according to yogic science, to deal with the problem, I have to look at the problem as a whole, not as a fragmentary problem.
Right.
Like I'm feeling guilty because society told me you did something wrong. According to
Yes.
I did something wrong, and I'm feeling guilty about it.
Yes.
So now when I'm looking at the problem, there is a greed inside there is a desire when I'm going into the process of solving a problem. Whenever I try to solve a problem, there is a desire. What the desire is? Main desire is the person who is saying me guilty, how I become good person in front of that person.
Yeah. Are you saying you want to change what that person thinks about you? That's why
Exactly.
you are in.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm not seeing the whole problem. I'm
Yes.
just seeing only one problem. That problem is that person is thinking bad about me.
Yes.
I'm not seeing the problem of pain which I'm having. I'm not ready to get rid of the problem uh, which is a guilty. I'm not ready to understand the whole concept of guilty. If
Right.
I am going into a problem of guilty, like how this guilt is created, what is it behind it, and I use my awareness, my sensation, my heart, everything into it. So I will observe it very carefully. I will come out of it.
Hmm.
So that's why Patanjali is very much focusing that you should know more and more about your mind, how it functions, what are its modifications, how it deals, what is its nature. Patanjali wants you to know the nature of the mind because
Right.
all the pain is coming from the mind. If I will know the nature of the mind, then I will start controlling it. I will start seizing it,
Right.
being the witness of the existence. Then I will be master of mind. Now mind is a master of me.
This bottom line that what Patanjali is guiding us toward is nothing but awareness. He is not saying
Awareness.
you do these steps, step 1, step 2, step 3, because whatever I have studied, what I understand, there are no instructions in the sutras. It's only the sutra, and
Right.
like you said, it's actually a science, it's very scientifically worded. And there are no instructions, there are no guidelines. And if I compare that with any kind of studies I've been doing, say from some modern day philosophers or modern day motivational speakers, some people who have been very successful in their fields, the strategy is completely different. Every single video you will watch or book you will read, or even just some forwarded message you might get on WhatsApp or on social media will always be with some guidelines like do this, step 1, step 2, step 3, do this and you will achieve that, do this and you will achieve that. And until recently I was quite influenced by such things, and I thought, yes, these actions they are guiding me towards will surely improve my condition. Whatever it is I'm trying to change, it will improve it. But after getting into this philosophy, I realized that it's a very different strategy. There are no instructions. There's only one instruction, which is mindfulness. That's it, which is
Mindfulness.
completely
That's right.
different, isn't it? It's completely different.
Motivational speakers tells us that you have this image and how to develop this image, the development of the image, how to make it better,
How to make it
how
bigger,
you apply
to grow.
bigger.
Yes,
Yeah, how to comparatively you become better than your neighbor, how
yes,
you become a richer person, how you become more stronger, more powerful. So everything what they teach us how to build up your willpower, which
right,
is dealing with something like I am something today and I will be something tomorrow
right.
through applying some process, as you mentioned, steps and methods and
Yes,
techniques, right?
yes,
But in yoga, in the actual philosophy, it's not like this. Actual philosophy, actual yoga is you don't need to uh, become something in future. You need to just find out where you are. Just
hmm,
look at it, what it is.
yeah,
And it does not deal with willpower. It deals with surrendering. More you surrender, more you lose. I remember a story of Buddha. One day, one guy came to Buddha and asked what you have achieved through your all practices and all, whatever you're doing, what you have achieved, where you have, what you have got through it. Buddha replied, I haven't got anything, but I can tell you what I have lost. I have lost my anger, I have lost my conflicts of the life in terms of jealousy, hate, anger, frustration, depression. I lost everything. I don't know what I've got.
yes.
I just, what I've lost, I can tell you.
At the end of the day, even if I follow the steps from a motivational speaker, actually, the only thing I really want is that I want to lose my anger, I want to lose my stress, I want to lose my fear. And these steps I might follow through the advice of a motivational speaker will carry me up to a certain point. But that requirement to lose these negative, painful, um, thoughts in my mind is what I really want. The big picture is that.
Again, look at it, the fifth sutra.
Yes,
Mind is creating pain and pleasure.
yes,
So we have found that pleasure is a reason of pain.
yes,
Pleasure is a reason of pain. Motivational speaker continuously gives me a path and way to reach to the highest, higher and higher pleasure.
yes.
So I can reach to the higher pleasure, which is the pattern of my mind, which I'm following, the whole society is following. So my mind feels very friendly what the motivational speaker is saying, because I'm getting pleasure there. My mind is already finding pleasure and he is supporting me into it, the
Yes.
motivational speaker.
Yes.
So I go towards more pleasure. If I will have more pleasure, I will have more pain. So I'm not free. So I'm not free from all this.
This philosophy is completely different from anything we are following these days.
Completely, because what we are following, it's a pattern, it's a ordinary mind, right? It's like what you are, you need to become something, you need to become greater. So you become something greater and you keep on losing the humility. You are no more grounded because you have done a lot of effort to become better than another,
Yes.
consciously or unconsciously. You are in a race of comparison. So it's completely different. It's true what you said.
If we'll just quickly summarize and wrap up the core essence of Sutra number 4 and 5, so we can have a strong takeaway from today's conversation.
Right. So Sutra number 4 is simply just Patanjali simply telling us that you are identified with your mind all the time.
Yes.
If your awareness increase, you break down these identifications. You come more closer to the reality. More the awareness, more closer to the reality we are.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Fifth Sutra, Patanjali is telling that these identifications that you have got already are continuously bringing you pleasures in your life and pain. And we have found out that pleasure and pain, we cannot separate them. They have a great relation with each other. They are not like, I cannot separate the pain is a different thing, pleasure is a different thing. They are related.
It's based on comparison, ultimately. So one has to exist for the other one to exist. You mentioned that the next sutra is, of course, very much connected to this concept, what we are studying today, about the different states that we live in between pain and pleasure. So in our next video, we will carry forward the conversation and discover what are these various forms between pain and pleasure.
Yeah. Sure.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Vishu. It's been really great to understand these concepts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. We really hope you've enjoyed this video. Now, so far, we've discussed the true and spiritual meaning of yoga to help you understand and deepen your study of the practice. We've also discussed the concept of mindfulness according to Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And on this video, we've been talking all about the concepts of pain and pleasure. If you find these conversations valuable, please do hit the subscribe button below, comment, like, and post your questions, and we'll be sure to answer them in the coming videos. Now join us in the next video where we continue our systematic study of Patanjali's Sutras and continue with Sutras number 6 to 11, which are all about understanding the mind deeper. See you soon.